Is Marvel getting ready to add Blade to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? In case you missed it, last week was the 20th anniversary of Blade, the vampire movie that sliced its way from comic book pages to the big screen, kicking off the modern-day cinematic superhero craze. While the film didn't get the greatest reviews from critics when it first came out, it was enough of a box office hit, plus the support from fans showed Marvel and other superhero movie makers that comic book characters were primed and ready to grace our screens. And now it looks like Marvel is considering officially bringing the vampire hunter into the MCU. Now, to celebrate the anniversary of the vampire-slaying good guy, Blade actor Wesley Snipes gave an interview to Vice to talk all things Blade, the character's history, the future of the role, as well as responding to some of those stories we've heard from Patton Oswalt about the drama that happened on the set of the third film, Blade Trinity. Snipes, unsurprisingly, dismissed many of those rumors. Now, Snipes also gave an update to the future of the character, saying that his team sat down with Marvel recently to discuss whether there's a place for Blade in the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe, and apparently there are plans coming from the House of Ideas on how to reintroduce the Daywalker to the modern MCU audience. All the main execs at Marvel and my team, we've been discussing for the past 2 years. We've created 2 projects that fit perfectly into this world, and when people see them, I think they're only going to have a problem deciding which one they love the most. Wow, so not 1, but 2 possible plans to bring Blade into the MCU. This actually sounds pretty legit and awesome. Of course, with Marvel's busy slate of films coming up, Snipes also commented that if and when this happens, it will depend on if both Snipes and Marvel's schedules work out. When asked about whether Blade could be rebooted with another actor taking over the katanas, Snipes seemed pretty intent on staying in the black leather jacket himself, saying that they'd have to find someone with martial arts skills who can dance and who can overcome everybody's preconceived idea of who Blade is supposed to be. Though not impossible, we do have to agree that finding a new Blade who could check all of those boxes plus reboot the franchise would be no easy task. So what does this all mean for the future of Blade in the MCU? Well, we could see Blade's MCU entry happening one of 2 possible ways. Option A would be to keep the original Blade films as canon for the continuity of the character, essentially retconning the existing Blade cinematic stories into the MCU, then bring back a current-day Blade, either with a 4th Blade movie or via a supporting role in another existing MCU franchise. That is my personal favorite choice. That option would mean that there have been secret vampire wars happening throughout the street-level MCU this entire time, and the MCU regulars just haven't been aware of them, which honestly is super awesome. And vampires wouldn't be too far from the increasingly mystical direction that the MCU has been heading through in the likes of Doctor Strange and the Sanctum Sanctorum. Opening the supernatural doors of the MCU even wider could also bring on characters like Moon Knight, Mephisto, and Ghost Rider. Sorry, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, we want to see Ghost Rider on the big screen. Now, option B is a straight reboot, with or without Wesley Snipes back in the role. If a reboot happens with Snipes as Blade, then we could see him as a mentor to a younger vampire hunter who's taking over the vamp-slaying business, maybe a son or a daughter, which lends itself pretty nicely to a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type setup where Blade is the watcher for a budding new Slayer. And really, Blade as a mentor character could work for either version of a Blade MCU movie. It might also be an easy way to PG-ify the R-rated blood-soaked Blade franchise for Disney's more family-friendly MCU. But what do you folks think? Should Blade be introed into the MCU as a PG film, or would it work better with the street-level Marvel heroes of Netflix? And since Disney now owns Fox, how likely is it that Disney will just go ahead and make the new Buffy reboot part of the MCU too? Let's discuss. I hope to God they don't do that. Be sure to like, subscribe, and mash that little bell to get notified every time we drop a video or go live with the show. And hey, have you checked out What the Friday? It's our pop culture week in review breakdown where we discuss, debate, and they get too heated over trivia. You can check it out on Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific on ProjectAlpha.com. Just use the promo code ALPHA60 to get a 60-day free trial. And if you miss it live, you can always check out the podcast version on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else fine podcasts are found.